Nihat Kahveci was born in Istanbul on 23rd of November 1979. A product of the Beşiktaş Youth Academy, he made his first team debut during the 97-98 season at the age of just 17 after impressing his youth team boss. Of the 14 appearances and only 3 starts that he made, the highlight of his maiden campaign was undoubtedly scoring an injury time winner against Galatasaray in the Turkish Super Cup. From this point on, the exceptionally talented young Nihat cemented his place as a first team regular, and given his many outstanding attributes, it's not hard to see why. The teenage starlet was quick, agile and tricky. He was a very positive player, always looking to drive the team up the pitch. Whether that be bursting forward on a purposeful run, playing a key pass into the final third, or whipping a deadly cross into the box, Nihat was always focused on getting the team goals. Added to this, his strong mental qualities of dogged determination and teamwork, and you had a formidable attacking player who proved himself to be virtually undroppable. Nihat was a versatile player and was deployed on the left flank as a centre forward or second striker. He was most often and most effectively utilised as a right winger though, and it was in that position that he shone during the 2000-2001 season, a campaign which was to really introduce the wider footballing world to his potential. He was a key man in securing his team's safe passage through 2 rounds of Champions League qualifiers. He assisted what would be a vital goal with an inch-perfect delivery from a free kick to seal a 2-1 aggregate win over Bulgarian's Levski Sofia. He scored in both legs against Lokomotiv Moscow, with one of these goals typifying what was so good about Nihat's game. He collected the ball from his own half, glided past a couple of defenders, and strolled towards the opposition penalty area in what was an inexplicable amount of space, before he met some resistance from 2 defenders on the edge of the box. He jumped over the desperate lunge of one and brushed off the other. He then cleverly and coolly sent the ball back across the face of goal with a venomous shot. After a disappointing start to their Champions League group campaign, being on the wrong end of a 4-1 humping away to AC Milan, Nihat and Beşiktaş quickly bounced back by securing a famous 3-0 victory over Barcelona. The whole team played with tremendous heart and commitment that night, with Nihat being a shining example of this. He was a thorn in Barca's sides and a constant source of danger for his team, and his dogged determination and never say die attitude was on full display as he took a second bite of the cherry and whipped in a beautiful cross to assist Ahmet for the opening goal. Unfortunately, that victory was not to mark a turning of the tides or change of fortunes for the Turkish giants in Europe, as they didn't pick up another win and were on the receiving end of a 6-0 mauling by Leeds and got humbled 5-0 by a vengeful Barca to finish bottom of the group. He was, however, now firmly on the radar of Western European clubs. A sparkling start to the 01-02 season saw him bag 6 goals and 5 assists in just 13 Super League appearances, before he was sidelined with a knee injury in November. In January 2002, a 22-year-old Nihat was transferred to La Liga club Real Sociedad for €5 million. He left Beşiktaş having scored 30 and assisted 25 in 122 appearances. Unluckily for Nihat, this was a period of near total domestic domination for city rivals Galatasaray, and he only got his hands on a Turkish Cup and Super Cup during his 5 seasons in the first team. As he was covering from knee problems and picked up another knock, Nihat's influence was limited as he only managed 1 goal in 11 appearances in his first half season with his new team, in which he was deployed and reinvented as a centre forward. The following campaign was to be arguably his finest ever year. He struck up a marvellous relationship with Serbian striker Darko Kovacevic, a partnership which would later see the duo dubbed as Little and Large due to the strikingly noticeable height difference of 12 centimetres between the pair. Kovacevic was a tall, strong and imposing forward who excelled in winning the aerial battles in the box and knocking the ball down for on-rushing teammates like Nihat. The contrasting styles and statures is what made this partnership so beautiful and fruitful. Nihat's mobility and technical ability allowed him to exploit the spaces created by Kovacevic's physicality and hold-up play. The Serbian striker's ability to bring teammates into the game helped Nihat find gaps in the opposition defence and receive scoring opportunities. The duo's understanding of each other's movements and tendencies enabled them to develop a strong, almost telepathic connection on the field, leading to many goals and assists. The two were particularly rampant that season, and by the halfway point after 19 games, Nihat had scored 10 and assisted 2 in the league, as La Real were not only involved in their first title challenge in decades, but they topped the table, sitting 5 points ahead of Real Madrid. Some of his contributions had been absolutely key in driving his team to the top of the table. He bagged the only goal to secure an important away victory against Villarreal. He got 2, the leveller and one to put them in the lead to spare the team's blushes as they had to come from behind to dispatch table footers Huelva. He assisted his big mate Darko and scored the equaliser as they nabbed an away draw against Valencia to keep a respectable gap between them and Los Blancos. Naturally, Nihat's goal-scoring heroics and dazzling displays had quickly endeared him to the fans, who absolutely loved their new star striker that was helping to take them to unfamiliar heights. He had also caught the eye of the biggest clubs in the world, with both Man United and Real Madrid credited with interest in the player. Nihat responded to this transfer buzz in what we will come to learn is typical Nihat fashion, with loyalty and professionalism. Nobody has called me and I am completely calm about everything. I have a contract at Real Sociedad until 2006, so if anyone wants to sign me, they have to speak to the club and the president. I don't know if the rumours about Man United are true or not because I have not heard a thing. All I want to do is play for Sociedad now and not be distracted by other things going on. Real Madrid and Manchester United are very big clubs, but I'm happy and I want to remain here. I only think about becoming a champion at Sociedad and making the Champions League next season. And he certainly did do his utmost to try and make La Real's impossible title dream a beautiful reality, continuing to bang in the goals like he did in the first half of the season, including some big moments. Unfortunately, in the new year, defensive frailties came to the fore and Nihat was powerless to avoid defeat in some huge matches. He scored 2 against Betis, a cracking free kick to level the score at 1-1 and a corker of a shot into the roof of the net following some great work by Kovacevic to give Sociedad the lead just 4 minutes later. It was all for naught though, as they conceded from a corner in the 86th minute and then fell victim to some awful refereeing as one of the softest penalties I've ever seen was given against them, and Fernando gave Betis the victory with virtually the last kick of the game. This let Real Madrid close the gap to just 2 points, a deficit they bridged after matchday 25, going a point above Sociedad. Nihat scored in matches against Deportivo and Barcelona, but they were once more futile strikes as they would lose 2-1 on both occasions. They did, however, win a massive 6-pointer against Real Madrid, in which Nihat was once more on the score sheet, and they were top of the table again after matchday 31, capitalising on Madrid's failure to beat Huelva, and going into the penultimate match against Celta Vigo, they were a single point above Madrid in the table and had to win if they wanted their destiny to be in their own hands on the final day. Once more, Nihat stepped up to the plate and delivered when his team needed him to, scoring 2 more goals. And once more, it was all to be in vain as he was let down by his defence and they lost 3-2. Now, they needed to beat Atletico on the final day and pray for Madrid to lose. They held up their end of the bargain, with Nihat again finding the back of the net in a 3-0 victory, but alas, Los Blancos clearly hadn't read the script and won their final match 3-1 to claim the Liga victory, and heartbreakingly consigned Sociedad to second place and a footnote in the pages of history. His 23 league goals that season meant he was tied with the one and only Ronaldo in second place in the scoring charts, behind Roy Mackay. Kovacevic himself got 20 in the league, highlighting just how deadly the little and large duo were that year. He was also the main man for his country that season, scoring 3 and assisting 4 in 7 Euros qualification group stage matches, but that would again end in heartbreak for Nihat as Turkey were defeated by Latvia in the playoffs. In his next 4 seasons at the club, La Real would never again find themselves in such a thrilling title race, as they were soundly rooted in the bottom half of the table, and Nihat would never again score more than 20 league goals for the San Sebastian club, with the most being the 14 he scored in the 03-04 season. Links between the striker and other teams persisted, and he came close to leaving Spain on several occasions. Man United and Sir Alex maintained an interest and scouted him on several occasions, with many outlets reporting that it was essentially a done deal in the summer of 2004, but apparently there was not much truth in those rumours as he never did make the move to Old Trafford. I feel that this is a shame, as I reckon he would have thrived under Sir Alex and in that dominating Man United team, and I think he would have torn it up in the Prem. Alas, that is not how history played out, and we will never know if I would have been proved right or not. But the country he came closest to leaving Spain for was Russia, as in 2005 CSKA Moscow tried to take advantage of Sociedad's dire financial situation and steal their prized asset away. However, a combination of injury and Nihat's desire to stay and help his club stave off the looming threat of relegation again meant that no move was forthcoming, and in April 2006 a deal to sell him to Spartak Moscow rather than lose him for free at the end of the season was all but done, but an Achilles injury to Kovacevic meant that a decision was taken between the player and the club for him to remain until the end of the season. Personally, I'm glad he never went to Russia, as it would have been a step down in quality, and at only 26 he had to be plying his trade in one of the top 5 leagues in my opinion. Nihat did his job and helped the club avoid demotion from the top flight by a single point before leaving on a Bosman to join fellow La Liga outfit Villarreal. He left the club, having scored 57 and assisted 4 in 142 appearances in all competitions. He had a tough start to life at his new club, as a reoccurrence of a brutal ACL injury which he first suffered in 2005 caused him to miss the majority of his debut season with the Yellow Submarine. He recovered and recuperated over the summer, however, and was back to his very best for the following campaign. He struck up another lethal attacking partnership, this time with veteran Arsenal legend Robert Pires, as he scored 18 and assisted 5 in the league. Although Villarreal mounted a serious and credible assault on La Liga that season, Nihat's offensive excellence was once more heartbreakingly not enough to see them over the line, as they ended the season in second place, 8 points behind winners Real Madrid. He carried his scintillating club form onto the international stage and was a key player for Turkey at Euro 2008 that summer. He assisted the equaliser against Switzerland and then scored 2 against the Czech Republic in the final game of the group to see them qualify for the knockout rounds. He captained his country against Croatia in the quarters, a game which Turkey would win on penalties, but would see Nihat injured in the 117th minute, meaning he missed the semi-finals against Germany, a thrilling game that they would lose 3-2 courtesy of a Philip Lahm dream destroyer in the 90th minute. It was clearly one injury and one devastating heartbreak too far for Nihat, as he struggled to find form and fitness for Villarreal the following season, failing to score a single goal in 23 appearances. A potential dream return to Besiktas, the club where the whirlwind journey had all started for Nihat, quickly turned into a nightmare, as it soon became clear that he was a shadow of the potent attacking threat that had departed for Spain 7 years previously. He could no longer influence proceedings like he used to, and only scored 9 goals across 2 seasons back in Turkey. His final appearance for the club was marred by a nasty incident with new fan favourite and fellow teammate Ricardo Quaresma, after Nihat was angry that the Portuguese did not pass to him. Less than a month after this, in May 2011, his contract with the club, which had 2 years left to run, was terminated by mutual consent, as an unhappy Nihat no longer wanted to play in Turkey. As a free agent, he apparently had offers from clubs in Spain and America, but after 6 months decided to call it a day and hang up his boots for good on 12th of January 2012 at the age of only 33. The striker had these emotional words to say about his decision: "When you get old, you can't do anything you want on the pitch. I must admit, my return to Turkey was not a success, and it hurt me, as a man who was used to success. I was angry at myself, and there was some heavy criticism too. After I left Besiktas, I thought maybe I could play somewhere else, but I saw that I wanted to call it a day. Every story has a beginning and an end. I have had some very beautiful moments. I had great joy when I was healthy and playing well."